So we're gonna make a 14 gauge bangle with the nylon pliers and the 6-step wrap and tap. We're gonna use this just so that we know how we're gonna start. This was 8 inches of wire, and it turned into a 6.5 inside diameter. Okay. We also got, remember, you got to take into account the ring and this hook over here. Okay. So if you know you have a 7-inch inside diameter bracelet, you can add a 1/2 inch of wire. All right, 1/2 inch of 1 inch of wire. Okay. So we'll start with 9 inches of wire. All right. So when we do that, remember, we have to take into account that we're not hammering any of this. Okay? Any of this. When we do hammer it, I think we can stick with the 8 inches. Okay? So this is the bangle. And these are our tools. So in our previous classes, we used to do shaping and then using a mandrel. Okay, you know that large, long tube made out of steel. Okay, but today we're just going to use pliers, and it's got a little bit of spring. If we want to make more spring, I'm going to show you how to do that too. Okay, so let's take our wire. I'm going to stick with some. I'm going to do some 12 gauge, so you guys can see what it looks like. And let me bring some 14 gauge. In just a second. So this is 12 gauge wire, and how do I know? I'm going to use my wire tester. It doesn't fit in the 14, slides in that 12. Okay, and 10 is way too big. Okay, this is a 14 gauge. Doesn't fit in the 16. Fits in the 14. And way too big. Okay, to do the test, through the hole and then pull through. Okay, through the hole, doesn't get through. Okay, that's how I use the wire tester. All right, so let's cut 8 inches of wire. And then we're gonna make a quick one, and then we're gonna show you some fine tuning pieces. Make sure when you cut, you want to use a thick wire cutter. This one here is a 12 gauge wire cutter. That's an old version of this one. Okay, this is my least expensive 12 gauge cutter. Okay, it works really well. You can see with this. That's flush and that's pointed. Here's the pointed end. I'm going to trim that off. So now, there's our 8 inches of wire. And let's see what it turns into when we put it onto here. So I'm going to use the 1 to 3rd step of the 6-step wrapping. If you want a larger loop, use number 4. So when you do this, okay, here's the plier. Can you see where I'm grabbing? So this is where I want it to meet. Right there. Okay? Not there, nor here. Right there. Now I'm going to take my thumb and brace the wire, and I'm going to turn my wrists into my hands. Oops. Okay, that's number 3. Okay. If you want a little bit larger, let's undo this. And here's number 4. This is why we like soft wire. There. That's a nice size loop. And that is approximately, what's that, 5/16? Yeah. Once you made your loop, you're going to take your chain nose pliers. Okay, place your chain nose pliers inside the loop. Take your index finger and thumb. What you're going to do is you're going to hold and brace while you do this rotation. You're going to rotate inward and turn your hands and wrist together like that. And then you get this nice lollipop. It's going to be slightly more bent here than here. So you're going to insert, take your thumb and index finger, and then you're going to rotate inward. Okay, so there's our nice lollipop. How's that look? Everybody okay? So that's your lollipop. That's going to be one side of your bracelet. That's going to be the other side of your bracelet. And here comes the shaping. Okay, so there's a curvature to the plier. We want to bend inward. So if you're looking at it, it should be a smiley face. This loop here, you want to face it up like this. So it's all in line. And this is what you're going to do. Squeeze. And then you see this crest right here? That's right there. You're going to move it. As soon as you feel that crest right here, on this edge, you're going to squeeze and rotate like that. You see that? See this curve right here? Once it hits this edge, then you squeeze. And squeeze. And squeeze. And squeeze. All the while the wire is getting hotter. Nancy, how's it looking? Okay? And then you just rotate. And once you get to about here, where there's still a little bit of straightness, take your round nose pliers, the 6-step, and on the second loop. Oh, let's use the third. Yep, the third. This is the loop that's facing you. Here's the loop that we're going to create. Okay? Again, you're going to grab. Let me zoom again. Just where the wire and the plier meet. Okay? Hold it there. It might slip on you. Rotate inward. And then you're going to stop just short of it connecting. Okay, there he goes. All right. And look, it's almost perfect right there. Let's go back one more time. And yeah, we can do close up. Squeeze. And this tempers the wire. When you temper your wire, you harden it. And these are just small squeezes. basic bangle. You want this hook to hook nicely into here. So take your chain nose or your flat nose, and you're gonna bend this like that. Same thing here. Where this loop comes down, right about here. Bend that down. And there you go. Basic bangle. Okay, was that easy? Anybody? Okay, now we're gonna do some fun stuff with that. Okay, so it ended up, who asked a question about 8 inches and it turned into 6 1/4, or 3/4? Interesting, right? So 8 inches of wire with a loop and a hook created a bangle bracelet with a size of about 6 3/4. Nice. And here's another thing. This is a 12 gauge 8-inch wire. And it makes a smaller bracelet, 6 1/2. Same linear length, but just the diameter changes the final length. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, here's some 14 gauge gold, and we're gonna hammer this one. And this wasn't on the supply list, but if you guys have a bench block and a hammer, this comes out really nice. So 8 inches of wire. And I'm gonna use my favorite cutter. I have a new favorite. I'll show you guys that later. But this, butter. And then we're going to trim. And that one's flat. Now when I make stuff for people, I'll bring out my file, and then we're going to file that off. This is called a jeweler's file. I like it when it's nice and flush like that. We are now going to make the loop. We're going to use the number 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure this number 4 is away from you. You're going to grab just enough wire. Not that much. Nothing peeking out, just the wire. Hold it right there. Rotate your wrist. Okay. Your chain nose pliers back inside. And if you guys want me to get closer, just let me know. Unmute yourself and tell me, get closer. This back. Little crink. See how it's more on this side? I'm going to put this back in. Take my thumb, index finger, put that back in, and rotate close. Now the lollipop looks even. Alright, who do we have in here? Watch this, I'm just going to straighten out this wire. Okay. Now I'm going to do some hammering. This is a little different before. I'm going to create the hook more flat. I'm going to use my chasing hammer. This is our basic chasing hammer. I might mute it so you don't have to deal with the sound. Is that okay? Okay, that's the paddle. You guys can see that, right? There's that nice shadow. Okay, there's a paddle. And that's going to make a clean hook. Now I'm going to hammer this with a design hammer. Let's use the raw silk, the number 14. It's going to give a nice little pattern. But before that, I'm going to flatten it first to give it some place to sit. Okay. Again. And now, raw silk time. When I hammer this, I like to put one texture so it's not too much overlay. And then I'm going to put a line in between, give it a nice little bamboo design. Okay, close. Bear with me, I'm a little rusty. And now we have a designer wire. This is my bamboo. And now we can shape it. So once you get your design on, you can use your nylon plier to shape it. Remember, smiley face. Okay, smiley face facing you. Place it inside, just like this, and squeeze. Oh, I just remembered. Let's design this loop. So I'm gonna take my nylon hammer. It's a little bent out of shape. And I'm gonna use a raw silk, but it's a little different. It's called the raw silk A. And it's going to make a nice line. Let's see if I can put little guy here. Okay, bamboo. So this is the bamboo design. Flat shape. Smiley face. The design facing you. And squeeze. This part right here. Squeeze. 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 The wire's a little stiffer now. Okay, just before it gets straight, we're going to turn it in. You can do this in the beginning, but now you can see the thought process of why we curl it this way. Okay, so 1, 2 here. And with this one, I'm not going to get right to the edge. I'm going to give it a little bit of lip, a little straight, and I'm going to turn. Like that. That's pretty. So this is a refined version of this. Okay? Basic, refined. Take your flat nose pliers, bend this down a little. It's basically straightening out, and then here, bending it in. Now it's a designer bangle. Oh, they're all designer bangle. And then let's refine this. Okay, how's that? And did you try? I see you. Doreen, did you try it? Pauline? Did everybody try some? Tracy? That's okay. So if you get pumpkin shade, go back in, smiley face, and just keep doing this to it. Okay, keep, and it's not out. So you squeeze and you go all the way over here. It's like squeeze and then baby steps. If you were to put it in inches, you move about half an inch, half an inch, half an inch, half an inch, and that makes it round. The longer you make it, the more oval it will be. So Pauline, if you want an oval bangle, you can give yourself a little bit more room. Because see how it just turns around? Like little half an inch turns. And then you get this. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yes, the number 4. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can. You can. It just, the loop becomes bigger. So let's do an example. Okay. Let's make a 9 and 8.5. Okay, let's use a number 4 and number 4. How's that, Pauline? 1, 2, 3, 4. Trim the ends. All right. And clean your wire. Number 4. One, two, three, 4. Grab just enough wire. Okay, number 4. Chain those pliers. Back in. Thumb index. Rotate back. Bent neck. Put the number 4 back in. And rotate close. Okay, hold it here just like this. We're going to go to this side. And let's do it this way so you don't forget what size you used. Here's a number 4. And it's got to go perpendicular. Number 4. And there's your loop. Okay. Again, the nice thing about soft wire, you can always fix this. Okay. So there's your loop. There's your hook. Get your plier, smiley face. Put it in. Make sure that loop faces you. Smiley face. This is why in the beginner teaching classes, I do this part last so you know what you're doing. It makes sense. Okay, ready? Pinch. 1/2 inch. So Tracy, no pumpkin. Okay, here it is. Let's see if it will. This is a version of will it work or won't it? Okay. If it goes in, the number 4 is a little too big because it's the same size as the loop. So it locks in. So you want to go one size smaller. So bend this out like this. You can just place this in. Pull this out. 1, 2, 3. Hook it. There's your 3. Straighten this out. Needs a little bit more curve. Put the 3 back in. And rotate till it just almost touches. And that hopefully will work. Nope. 2. That's what we used before, right? If someone's taking notes, there's a 2. And pops right in. Okay? And that's, I think, the reason why I designed it that way. So 4 and 2. Oh yeah. I forgot I did that before. And then here's the reshaping. So Tracy, like this, just keep reshaping it. Now if you guys forget to hammer the bangle, you can always take it apart, smooth it out, put it on here, and hammer. Watch this. Okay. Then take your nylon hammer, either the smaller head one or the tapered. I'm going to use the tapered. Let me turn this away. And once you flatten out this way, go laterally. Okay, and now you can hammer again. Let's do waffle hammer. I'm going to give it a pave look. So I'm just going to go over it. Does anybody have designer hammers? Texturing hammers? Okay, so these are called texturing hammers. They're designed to give a designer look. There. Pretty. And it also tempers the metal. And on this, I'm going to show you how to do a flare out. Okay. And then I'm going to take the ball peen. Nice. So when you hammer metal, you tend to expand the metal. So you see the opening. You put it back in number 4. Rotate. There we go. If you have to, back it out again. And then rotate. There. Sometimes my hammering. There. And now, smiley face. And now you can do a bangle without a mandrel. Comes in handy when you're at a friend's place and you want to lug around a 15-pound mandrel. I want to make bracelet for everybody. Okay, there's that slight, see how it's bent? It's not bent, it's angled. Take the front nose pliers and just straighten it out a bit. Pops in better. Let's flare this. Any questions out there? Number 2. And you can always go back and reshape. Here. Yep. At this point, you can do it after. Because you can't do it this way because you've created this loop. But since you created the loop, you can go on top, on its horizontal versus its vertical. If you do both sides, you need to do a hammering technique called you got a buffer. So once you design here, you got to put a piece of leather or something thick to cover it up because you're going to lose. It's going to smash it down. It's like your rolling pin cookies. You only do one side of the cookie. Yeah. Yeah, you never see double-sided cookie. You don't, right? I'm trying to think. No, I don't. No. I always think food. I use food analogies for my jewelry. Always. And look, it fits pretty nicely. And this was 8.5 inches. Actually 8 3/4. Or, yeah. 8.5, and it turned into a 7 3/4. Remember, if you want to put a bead in, before you hammer this, slide in your bead. Neat, I'll talk about the tools. So the first tool that we use was the wrap and tap, the 6-step. We use the number 4 for the loop and the number 2 for the hook. You can use any of the sizes. Just make sure that the hook goes into the loop. All right. If you have these step ones, you can use this one, the number 2, okay, for the loop. Okay. And this makes a really big hook. All right. So that's why we use the number 2. But you can get away with 2 and 4. Nylon jaw, remember happy face, like this. If you do unhappy face, you have to rotate the other way, inwards versus outwards. Okay? Just follow the shape. All right? Follow the shape. Nylon hammers to straighten if it gets out of shape. You can also use the nylon plier that is straight. Okay, I couldn't find mine, so I got what I could. The chasing hammer we use to flatten out the hook to get that nice designer hook. Okay, and the number 14, raw silk, and the 13 to make my bamboo pattern. Okay, this makes the bamboo pattern. Okay, what else is there? The number 22. What is this one called again? The waffle hammer. Gives you that pave look, that diamond encrusted, like you're back in the 70s again. All right, polishing cloth. So after you hammer and you play with your tools, you want to go back there and clean it. If you want a deeper finish, polishing pad cuts the metal, gets rid of all the scratches. Do the outside, do the inside. The loop and the hook, and you get that. Okay, let's see what it looks like closer. Shiny, really shiny. That's all the silver coming off. And after you polish with the pad, then take the cloth and give it a final buff. It's like the nail buff, the coarse and the fine. That's basically the same thing. Look at the shiny. It works also on gold. And rose gold. If you guys have questions about this, let me know. But we made this today. That was fun. Not this today, but this one today. Okay. I'm going to end it. Everybody have a good night. And we'll talk to you guys soon.